JJ, yeah, whenever you're ready, go ahead and get us started here with a little Prince Zoho wallet review.
Hey, thank you. Thanks, Prince Zoho, for volunteering here. Just let me give me a couple minutes just to set up real quick. It should be good to go. All right, so yeah, thanks for joining in, and thanks, Prince Zoho, for offering up your wallet for review. Kind of a light one today. Just usually have like 50 or so, 80 or so items to review and try to chop it down, but looks like you're just kind of playing around, like you said in your questionnaire. Kind of, you got a pretty nice Web 2 position, and you just want to kind of invest in Web 3, take some shots. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, pretty much. There's some things in here that I like and some things I don't really love, but just having fun, and I've been building stuff in Web3 on the side, so I've been trying to find the foothold on where to be. So in the meantime, I've always just been kind of collecting.
Sweet. Yeah, that's awesome. I guess first question I have for you, and you've already answered, but just for the crowd here, it's like, what's your liquidity like? Is it something that you don't mind adding to as the months go on, or is it like you just want to work with what you got right now?
No, I'm more than happy to add to it. So probably, and if there was like a super play, like I guess I would jump in on like a 2 or 3 ETH additional to stuff, but then I don't know, maybe an ETH a month I would be willing to probably put in to
awesome
to sort of play with and stuff like that. But hopefully, start making enough gains that I don't have to continually every month put in an ETH every month.
Yeah, just play with house money at that point. Kind of the goal for a lot of us here, but nothing wrong with that approach as well, because sometimes you just need that little bit of liquidity to capitalize on, like, huge play. So no, that's a good starting point. And then second one is, I guess, how much time do you have to commit to this? Like, is this a daily thing for you? Is this kind of like check in as you go, or is it like kind of day trading? I'll let you kind of respond how you want to that one.
So I think maybe you guys have seen me on here a little.
Yeah, I've seen you around.
So you're seeing the level of probably active involvement that I do, and that's basically where I'm at. Like I see a lot of it, like let's say $50 or $5,000 on a let's say playing on a sports game, like let's say betting on the Bengals. Like It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me if it's five. I get the same emotional high from the $50 bet than I do as a $5,000 bet for this. So it's more about being there and enjoying the vibes. Like, but I'm not going to sit here and like yesterday was a kid called Beast. I was out at 0.25, and I'm not going to spend the next 6 hours refreshing and looking at this thing all day long to get from 0.25 to 0.3 or 0.35 or even 0.4. Like I make too much money to spend 4 hours for $50,
Right. So it kind of sounds to me like you kind of dipping your toes a little bit with the DGen plays and stuff, but sounds more like like a midterm to longer term kind of player, if that sounds about right.
Yes and no. I mean, I love the DJ plays. That's the problem. but like, if I suck with using, like I used to use Cyberbox, and I used a couple other tools. I had Ninja Alerts, I had all these things, and I was doing it. And it was just like with the gas of the past, back in the older days and stuff like that. It seemed like no matter how you did, like one misstep and you just blew it on gas. You just like wiped out like a week's worth of DGen plays. So it's like, why am I doing this? But with Thunder and all those things, if I was able to set it up right and actually it'll make like real games, I would love to do that, because it just seems like a fun way to stack ETH and be a fun. It's sort of like a community event, right? Everyone makes $100 and everyone feels great. Like that's more important to me. If I was trying to make my millions in Web 3, then I should probably concentrate on my Web 2 a little bit harder. So yeah,
that makes sense. So you kind of just experimenting at this point with different methods, and just because it's DGen doesn't mean like it doesn't, like it'll necessarily just be like a short term kind of thing. Like there's some DGen things that you just want to mint them all and then see if any of them moon. I know a couple players do that. Like I think Mike's NFT does that, and a few others as well. But yeah, for the most part, like it seems like what you're good at and what you're not at this point, which is good. myself, I'm not so good at degen mints. I am not around enough to capitalize on the windows, but there's some that just moon out of nowhere. So kind of taking that just spray and pay approach. So yeah, that sounds pretty good. And you mentioned Thunder, so sounds like you're going to be having tasks running as well on the side. So kind of mix of things there in terms of strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually have a Thunder set, so that's why I was saying, like, I would like to learn how to like multi-wallet and stuff like that. Do it. Like, I tried with Sensei, and Sensei just was a disaster for me every time. And then they made it to be a paid monthly thing, and I was like, this is just not working out. So maybe it's because I had my virtual assistant, trying to help figure this out, but I don't know. It just never seemed to win, and maybe that's what we were choosing or not. But I liked it. It was fun, so.
Awesome. Yeah, and you'll get the hang of it as you go on, and there's a lot of good resources in here, and think there's even a few guides, I believe, somewhere in here on how to use multi-wallets and bots and stuff like that. But yeah, typically how this goes is, I start with your current liquid here, and just for simplicity's sake, I know you said you can add on, but I'm just going to go with whatever you have at the time, which is 2 ETH, and then going to ask you to go through these collections, get a gauge on what the estimated price of them are, and then what your play is. Like, are these possible liquids, or possible liquidity, or are these like long-term hold? Right, sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, so starting from the top, Invisible Friend. I see that there's a difference in the trait versus the floor price. Is this kind of a rarer trait for that one?
That's good to know. I mean, it normally says that from the ranking I saw, it's pretty low. I mean, it's pretty poorly ranked, but that's good to know that the top trait is actually worth a little bit more.
Do you have an idea yourself, like on what it's worth just about, or just kind of eyeballing it there?
Well, I hate to put it in this terms, but everything's worthless until you sell it. So I don't know. The Invisible Friends always got you something else to the next kind of thing, just like the mood verse and all that. I know the Garbage Friends is coming out probably on Wednesday, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it's a nice community. I think that the community itself is pretty nice, but I don't see it necessarily in the same tier as what some of the other projects that were sort of in that quote blue chip, that I feel like they didn't really meet the tiering and they're great though, so maybe they can get there. But if there is another opportunity for someone that was a little bit better to be my marquee PFP, I'd be happy to do that. But I love Invisible Friends. I love the community. So
yeah, cool. Just in this context, I'm asking just to get an evaluation of the floor prices of like what you could possibly get for these. So in that sense, like I'm just trying to get a gauge of like if you were to sell them, like how much liquidity you could get. So I'm just looking at the floor of that one, and it's looking like it is a sort of desirable trade. So I'll just go on the conservative side and say like it's worth 3 ETH. Just above floor, but and then just kind of from what it sounded like there, that's like a kind of a hold for you, right?
In the meantime, until I find a better PFP to represent,
Gotcha. And then this one was the tricky one, which was 115 Gunslinger. It's quite a gunslinger bag, but obviously there's quite a difference between the floor and a lot of the traits. But you got a rough estimate about how much those would be worth?
I mean, these are kind of a hold, a little bit of a flip, but like I just enjoy them. These ones I just collect because I like them. It's not that I think that they're ever going to go anywhere.
Okay.
That's all.
I am gonna be on the conservative side and say maybe a fifth of these are rarer, so I'll just bump it up to like 3.5 for the estimated price there. And then, of course, like if you ever were to sell them, like or offload a few, you can always go back and be like, no, these are worth more, and then get a better gauge on how much liquidity you could potentially have, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I tend to be a more of a very close to the floor kind of lister. I'm not a big trait. I like traits for the aesthetics. I'm not. I think a clean mid is never going to be as good as a ultra rare or a floor. I think everything in the middle is sort of not my game. So
Gotcha. Yeah, and I think that's most people here. It's either floor or rare or super desirable trait, right? And so, yeah, kind of on the ball there. Sensei, I'm guessing this is a tool that you're using currently, not looking to sell.
I'm not using it currently. And if there was something better, I would certainly sell it.
Okay, cool. All right, possible liquid there. Cellmates.
I have conviction on this one. I think it's a hold. Also, I have some of his artwork on the wall. So
Nice. And are some of these rare?
one of them is a ghost. So I don't know.
Okay, sweet. Let me just take a look at that real quick. Ghost floor is like 0.89, so 0.8. Just kind of guesstimate here. Say like about 1 ETH. 3D Invisible Friends.
I like it, but doesn't have any emotional attachment to me.
Sweet. Okay, so possible liquid here. Whack by Camille Chang.
I like it. I like her. I'm surprised that the floor is that high. That goes down
Let's
a lot.
go.
So I mean, so why not? I like her, so I would kind of be more of a hold on that thing, but it's not really worth anything. It's worth 0.2329. I'd rather for $400. I'd rather just put in $400 of ETH.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And art's a little trickier, right? I see the last sale is like 3 weeks ago, and then the last sale before that's 2 months. So I'm just gonna just do a little bit of a mark off there, just say like 0.2, just to be on the conservative side.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be lucky if I was able to sell it if I was trying to actually make money on it. That was just more of a. I liked it, but
hey, sometimes it works out that way. Flower Girls. What's the deal with this one?
Well, I believe that the Flower Girls are going to be around for a long time. So I think it's sort of like not gain any money, but like one of those long term. Someday it will actually be worth something.
Gotcha.
So I'm sort of I like what it represents. So it's probably a hold to me. But if something happened and it pumped to like an ETH from 0.1 or whatever, then it would force my hand, I guess.
Hey, yeah, and are any of these, are either of these two rare?
One of them is enough that I get a ton of well above the floor offers, especially when Flower Girls were doing well. I don't know why it's rare. I think it's like the hairdo or something. I don't know, but it has some special ranking to it that people are desiring it.
Let me see if I can eyeball this real quick. Maybe it's the hair. Yeah, it looks like it's the flowers on the head. So I'll guesstimate, like 0.3 for these, let's say. Just put that as a hold. All right, SBS playoff card.
Well, the playoffs are right now. And I've recently had this weird problem where I clicked to accept on my MetaMask and then it double mints the amount of what I thought, because I guess I had two windows open. So I have twice the amount of cards than I wanted. I had twice the amount of everything I did last week is basically twice the amount of everything I intended to get. And it worked out, I guess, for some things and didn't work out for others. But it's kind of funny.
Gotcha. And so I'm guessing these are just you're just playing this. Let's see.
Yeah, it's like playoff gambling. I mean, who knows? It's just
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Mood flippers.
I made good money on these. I was calling them the mood flippers. I didn't make any money on. I maybe traded one, and I don't really care about it. The mood rollers.
Yeah.
I made money on in a weird way. I called them the mood roller coasters because they would go up and then go way down. And I'd buy them at the low and then watch them go up 0.5, and I just kept on doing that. But I blew it all in the sense of the point system for the Invisible Friends. I got one extra one for like 2 ETH more than I wanted to, and then and I would have gotten the 3 points I would have been able to get the Invisible Friends, and then the whole thing crashed, and that was like just like pissed away 2 ETH just like that. So
I mean,
annoying.
the invisible friends must have made up for it, right? At the time.
Well, at the time, if I sold it at 12 ETH, then sure.
Ah,
But,
damn.
you know, but you can see the invisible friends number one on my wallet review. So, but yeah, I mean, I do like the RCC, but I would again, I would be happy to join another full community and go in deeper on that if I saw something that was a little bit better. Like, let's just say theoretically, I got my hands on a Azuki and a whole bunch of beans. That would be kind of cooler to me, I guess.
Gotcha.
I'm a little bit more bullish on that long term. But
sounds good. All right, I'll mark that as a hold right now. And then VSP.
Yeah, I mean, I've lost enough money on it, but I also gained enough experiences, so it worked. But I would sell it.
Sweet. And then Slim Hoods, I'm guessing, is the same boat as Mood Rollers.
Same story. One of my mood rollers and one of my slim hoods, by their internal rankings, which I don't think is trait normalized or whatever, my slim hood was rated by their rankings like the number 35 slim hood, and it's not even good looking. And my mood roller was like the rank 100 mood flipper. So they're theoretically really rare, but I think that most of these things, like, people are trait buyers on these guys, so the number on the rank didn't really affect so much. Maybe a little bit, but I didn't see it pushing high above the floor.
All right. So with that in mind, I'll just kind of bump this up a bit, and that one a bit as well. Unbearable Bears.
Well, currently those things are pretty worthless, I thought. But they are connected to the artist Seneca. And I have high conviction on Seneca that these might be the lotto ticket to being able to whitelist or mint her future theoretical project.
Okay, they get sales every few days, so not dead. What's the? I'm guessing that's a hold then.
Yeah, it's a ticket. It's a ticket to ride, right? Because if All Seeing Seneca actually does her project, then I think that's going to be one of the most hyped projects of the year.
Gotcha. Not fungible bones.
I think
I remember this one.
You know, I like them. I don't think that they can fetch much money, but I like them.
And
I would sell them. I don't care. You know, like.
Gotcha. All right.
I mean, I'll be honest. I will sell every single thing in my collection tomorrow. If you told me to go sell them and buy a Azuki or something, then I would just do it. I don't. You know, other than my metaverse, of course.
Adding this all up, you're getting pretty close. I mean, it's like 11.6. So, you know, that's kind of the point. Sometimes you don't realize it, right? How much you could probably get out of your collection if you were to cut these things, right? And I think this is taking like a 15% haircut on all these things, just because, you know, maybe you have to lower the price or maybe royalty or whatever, but you could certainly do better than that sometimes as well. It's just kind of a conservative estimate.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate it.
No problem. And then Audie's Lodge.
Audie's Lodge is someone I had lunch with at NFT New York, who is a friend of the A-Town Brown. We all had Korean barbecue together, so I'm probably going to hold it. I didn't think it had much value, but she's a really nice person. I wanted to support the project, and it was during the worst week in NFTs, so I think that she had 50 people mint her whole project, and it was like, oof.
Yeah.
But it was like that worst, like the worst day of NFTs. She launched on like probably the darkest day of the past 4 months or something. And so
nice.
That was not good, but she's a really lovely person, and she's building a lot. She event planning things and all this cool stuff in Web3. So I just want to support her. So
yeah, I'll just remove that one.
Makes sense.
Just because it's just kind of a separate thing. Clay Friends.
That was supposed to be a mint flip. That didn't turn out how I planned.
Hey, okay, so possible liquid. Still, 0.04 is nothing. It's a nice steak dinner there. Maybe not a nice one, but it's a dinner. Wackies.
It's the same thing as the Wack. It's like the cheap version of Wack's the 101, and Wackies are her collection. So
I'll just put that.
Possible.
Possible.
Yeah.
And then everyone's.
That was a ticket to ride to just get whitelist for the banner for the cameo pass, which I have the cameo. I have the set of the cameo pass. I don't know. Maybe that was just missed on this thing, but that's how I got that's how I got the whitelist for cameo pass. I did on the last day, and it ran up high. But I don't really mind getting rid of the everyone's. That's part of the Royal RSOP, right? Royal Society of Poker.
Right? I think so.
That was their spin-off, and then they tried doing it, and it all kind of fell apart. I think for that
gotcha.
Group. I was never a RSOP holder, but I was just told to do this, and then definitely it doesn't have to be possible.
Okay. I think I'm missing a bunch of stuff then. Like I pulled it up in WGMI, but maybe there's some things that I'm missing there. If you notice any holes, like you did say cameo. So.
Let's see. I have the set of the cameo pass. Let me think. What else do I have? I have some old alpha groups, I guess, but that don't really count. I have a rug radio pass, but I don't think that the 0.06 ETH rug radio, not the.
Yeah, I'm refreshing WGMI, but let me find those. Cameo pass, right? That's like the GN, yeah.
Yeah. And that was, that's it. That's, Magic Mushroom Club and those kind of things are just small little clubs. I don't think that they're.
Well, they're worth something, it's like another 0.2.
Yeah.
What's your plan with those? I'm guessing.
And I have Star Cats. I don't know if you know. That was Mason's first project before Alien Friends.
Oh, okay.
But that's not really worth very much either. It's worth 0.02 or 0.03 as well.
Hey, it's something.
Yeah. These are all little things or something. So, I have. Let me see what else that is part of things. Sprite Club was supposed to be a snipe flip. Didn't work out that way. Oh, it's actually worth nothing now. Holy cow! Never mind. Wow, my eyes are hurting. Yeah, that's it. Really.
Okay.
I think I sold off everything else, at some point in time. Mostly.
Hey man, that's another couple $100. So.
Yeah.
It's not anything to write off. Right. If anything, it's gas money. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So looks like with your current liquid at 2, and if you were to sell everything again, taking a 15% haircut, looks like you could get close to 12 ETH. What are Azuki's at right now? I think it's 13 something on Blur. Maybe they moved up a bit, but I'm just gonna pull it up real quick. Yeah, it's like 14, right? So a little short. So maybe you gotta do a couple flips here and there. But first thing I'm gonna start off with is just going to this section and just cutting everything, right? And then that's kind of what it would look like if you were to sell those that you didn't want to hold, right? If you get all the way up to 3.4, which gives you a bit of breathing room, maybe you can buy some longer term holds in the meantime to get there. Bean is definitely one of those that you might want exposure to if you were looking to get Exukis. I think that's 1.5. So if I were to port this over and just go to redeploy here, right? Just kind of taking everything from your hold section. And then let's say you just wanted a bean, right? Was it 1.5-ish? Right. Yeah, and then you'd be left with pretty much the same ETH, but a bean, right? So you could color up all these things that we marked as possible liquid into a bean, right?
Totally.
That's like one of the things you could do.
Yeah, and was that something that you suggest going into that lower level type bean type thing? I always felt in my head was I'd rather just save up and go for the Genesis stuff, whatever the thing I wanted. I'm using Azuki as just an example, so.
Gotcha.
So it's not I'm not trying to flip into Azuki. I'm just saying I like Azuki because I think that was probably the most powerful project of last year, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think that they're probably the one that's set to be the number 2, I guess, to the ape ecosystem. So I really like it. But, if there's another thing that comes around, that's that 10 ETH area, I would like to be in there. I don't know if I want to put my entire bag in the 10 ETH thing necessarily, but maybe I do. I'm open. Like you guys are, I'm learning and listening from Metaverse HQ about that. I know I don't want to get into the meme land potatoes. It's just too much of a time rug and too many pieces. I want something that's like smaller,
Gotcha.
Like,
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys are going to make a ton on that, or the friendship bracelets and all that. It just seems like that's just too much of a puzzle for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to differ from person to person, right? And these are just all kind of recommendations, not financial advice, but anyone can chime in as well. But it sounds to me like you kind of want to get a little more into the flipping game. And maybe I would just say cutting a lot of these things and focusing on your liquidity is probably the best thing to do, so you can just kind of play around a bit more, give yourself more of a buffer there. If you see a secondary play, if you have 2 ETH and you're looking at, like, let's say a kid called Beast, right? You're like, I don't want to really risk an eighth of my bag into there, right? I think it was at 0.25 or so last I saw, before that pumped, and then I think it came back down overnight. But
I happily mint flipped that thing right off the bat, so I was super excited about that. Right.
Awesome. Yeah, and so that's kind of what I think is the best approach. Others, sometimes they don't have as much time, and then they just have a lot of liquidity sitting. So I like, if that was the case for you, I'd say Beans is probably something that this kind of redeploy is what I would recommend, just because you can get exposure to that ecosystem and then kind of sit on it and wait, as opposed to needing the liquidity to flip, mint and flip really quick. But yeah, it sounds to me like you just kind of want to learn a bit more about how to play different things. So I think cutting these bags and then just experimenting with flipping is kind of the way to go. And that's all aspects of it, right? Whether it's whitelist grinding or buying things speculatively for whitelist, or playing secondary market a little bit, or playing around with Thunder or something like that, right? I don't think you need very much for those bots, but something like Thunder, like the rental, the subscription fee can eat into your bankroll, right? Believe it's 0.4 with the biggest discount, and so that's monthly, and you'll need quite a bit of bot wallets to make up for that, and a lot of the times you won't hit as well, right? So sometimes it can be just sunk cost until you actually hit something that's worth something. So I think the safest approach is trying to kind of like playing secondary and whitelists, and buying things from the whitelist people that dump, because sometimes these things, if they're actually good projects, they can go up a lot. Like Createra is one that's a really good example of that. Something that I miss too, but it'll stay in this range for a bit, at least in this market when it's whitelist and hype, just because a lot of people see it as kind of a free arbitrage opportunity, right? And so same thing with like captains and potatoes, right? Those kind of things I think will stay in this range until it hits a certain number of sales, and then either goes up or down from there. But I think, again, that's kind of the approach I'd recommend for you. I don't know if you had any thoughts or if anyone wanted to chime in there.
Yeah, sounds great to me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'll send this over to you. You can play around with it. Maybe you want to cut a few more of these things and, put in like a pudgy or something, and something that you like, and just experiment with. So, yeah, I'll send the sheet over to you.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I mean, for me, I would love to get into one of those legacy projects, but I feel like, to me, it seems more exciting to, and I'm sure everyone would say this, is more exciting to do the right pieces to find the next Azuki or something like that, and just be making sure that I've done the right thing so that when that time comes, I'm able to participate. I tried really hard to mint a Nizuki, and I watched from the sidelines, and I was like so pissed because I knew it was where it was going. It was just like done in 15 minutes. It was already at 3/8, and I would have done it. I would have spent the 3/8, but it was like that wasn't on the inside track then. So I just watched from the sidelines. But I knew it, and being here, I guess, you guys see it, and you guys actually have a lot more opportunities to actually do it. So, if it's Thunder, if it's whatever it is that you need to have to make that happen, then that's great. I want to be involved. I want to play,
Yeah, and just to be clear, like some people don't even bot, right? And they just kind of mint and sit on things for a while. There's a few in here that have made quite a decent bag just doing that, right? Just waiting for it to pan out, and some that have a few hours at a time, and that's kind of the strategy. I would recommend to them is just kind of playing the midterm to long term game. Otherwise, it's hard to find an exit, right? So, yeah, it sounds like you know what you're doing, or you know the direction that you're going down. So, yeah, thanks again for coming up. And did you have any questions for me or anyone else?
No, I really thank you for taking the time to look at this, and I hope that there was enough content there for you to really see it.
Yeah. Thanks again. I know I'll send this over to you. Appreciate it.
Cool, much appreciated.
Awesome. I think Poop said Jow might want to come up. Have your wallet reviewed.
Yeah, thanks, JJ. Prince, great job. Jow sounds like he's got a smaller portfolio, but maybe want to come up and just talk through a couple things if you're up for it, JJ. Jow, does that sound good to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's really few NFTs, like, I think. Compared to his, nothing. Yeah.
Well, and that's something I forgot to say, so thanks for bringing that up. Like, for the both of you, I think while you kind of build up your bankroll, I think, you're taking the right approach, right? Especially with a kid called Beast. If you see instant profit, like, usually it's better to take it because it's it's a sizable chunk of your current liquidity, right? So as you build that up more and more, you can kind of let them ride out more and take risks, right? Like if you think, okay, maybe a kid called Beast can run to 0.6, right? You can kind of play that out if you're sitting on bigger liquidity, but I think you're playing it right. And I think that's the way that I would recommend you play it if you have lower liquidity, is just to arbitrage these whitelists until you get enough where you can speculate.
Yeah. I mean, I have literally only flipped so far. Even to get the key to this Discord, to this alpha group, I was just flipping.
That's a dub. Do you want to drop your wallet in there?
Yeah.
So I can pull it up. Let's go. Hopefully WGMI cooperates, but maybe if it's a smaller wallet, I can just kind of pull it up in here as well.
It's gonna have like 7 NFTs.
Hey, I mean, that's something to work with. What's your wallet?
It's
Got
just
it.
dropped. Yeah.
Perfect.
Small wallet, you can just pull up on Blur too.
Oh, sick! I didn't even know that. That might be better because it'll show the. I haven't done that before. Is it like Blur the wallet?
It's basically cool. Like it's the same as your
Okay, hopefully this captures everything.
You might not show the cost, depending on anything he's moved around.
I got faked out. I was like, oh, you got a Nizuki, and this is 0 to 0.
It's the
bid. Okay, let me
There's a lot of trash NFTs there, man. It's crazy.
All right. What's your current liquidity?
I mean, I used to have 1.4 ETH, but then I minted one extra key for Image TV. So now it's, 80% is on that. Then I have 0.1 in my burner wallet, and I have 0.12 in this wallet that you're checking at the moment. So yeah.
Okay, so 0.1, 0.12, and then how much was the rest?
The rest was, I mean, total is supposed to be 1.4 ETH.
Okay. Oh, but you minted the key, so
Yeah,
0.6 ish, right? Or is it 0.6 plus the 0.1 and the 0.12?
Oh, the thing is, I passed like in the application, so I had one key, so I bought for the 0.4 because I had the soulbound. Like the thing is, I sold a guitar collection, and then I bought the key on the second market, right? So I could mint for 0.4, and at the same time I got accepted in the cohort, so I could mint for 0.8. So I mint for 0.8 as well.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm just gonna skip buying price for now, then just do floor total. So it sounds like you have 2 keys, and it's about 1.6. Then sorry, messed up that 0.8, 1.6. Then you got Tiny Astro. I'm guessing that's a tool, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're holding that one.
I use quite a lot.
Okay, that's good. Anomura. Those are the bowls, I'm guessing.
Those are actually the NFTs, the balls I flipped it.
Oh, okay, these are something else. Okay. You trying to hold these or flip these?
I mean,
or?
I just got airdrop 2 legendary equipments from those 2.
Okay. And
which I think the price is 0.3 at the moment as well. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I saw one selling by 0.3, but I don't know if they go off for this price.
how do you tell if it's legendary or not?
It's written on them if you see the picture. Like, I have the Anomuras. Like, I have 2 Anomuras and 2 equipments from Anomuras.
Okay, I'm not sure how to evaluate these, so I'll take your best guess. What do you think these are worth, these 2? Like, what do you think if you could sell them? If you had to sell them fast, what could you get for them?
I saw one selling for 0.3, so to sell them fast, I think 0.50, I guess.
Okay, so 0.3 for the both of them, let's say. Okay. And then you have NFT Expert Summit. Is that something that you want to use or keep?
Not really. Like, I used for...
This. Hold on, let me check if this even has volume. Okay, it's got some volume, so probably sell that then. Okay. What else you got? Let's see. Oh wait, I got confused. There's Animore equipment, and then there's Animore equipment. Not many sales, but yeah, like you said, one sold for 0.3 just 4 days ago. So maybe I'll keep that then. And then the Animura, are those like rare or?
I don't think they're rare. I think they're normal. I don't know.
Okay. So floor is 0.03, so let's say 0.06 flip. And then I'm just gonna kind of summarize this all as like 0.01, 0.02. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
First. Flip. Okay. How you feeling about your liquidity right now?
I mean, I definitely would like to have more, but I'm trying to like start a fresh wallet with this 0.1 ETH and just flip my way around. So yeah, not too much liquidity, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Here's this one's a little simpler. I recommend. Sorry, mods and admins, but I think they'd agree with me. You don't need 2 keys.
Yeah, for sure. One is already.
You need to sell one, because that like over doubles your liquidity already, right? So,
Yeah.
I think it's a little better than knocking off 15%, because I think the floor is still 0.8 or something like that, but and the royalty is only 5%. But yeah, so that's immediately the first thing I'd do is probably sell that just so you can get some liquidity back to play with, and maybe you can find someone that will buy it for you from you for for the price. Someone that didn't get to mint or something like that. But yeah, that's kind of the first thing I would recommend. And then obviously, for the rest of them, I'd probably try to squeeze a bit more out of those legendary equipments, considering there was a sale 4 days ago. So I'd list them at like the 0.3, 0.28 or something like that. Just try to get a sale and check it every now and then, and see if it goes. But yeah, pretty good. Pretty good start. If you flipped your way all the way up to an MBHQ key, you had 2 of them for that matter. So
I was lucky on Kitaro. Like I bought 11 of them when it was before review. So I was lucky there.
oof, good play. Yeah, and then if you get the liquidity back, that allows you to make plays like that, right? Because if you're sitting on 0.6 and you want to do that, you may be thinking, do I really want to blow my whole bag on that and then miss out on something else, right?
Yeah,
So
I have been
it's
very, very conservative on secondary at the moment because of the liquidity for sure.
yeah, and if you increase it, you can play around a little. I wouldn't get too risky, right? With 1.6, let's say you sold everything and then had 1.6 liquidity. Try to stick to, I guess, the cheaper ones and avoid large sweeps on blur, especially just because the gas will kill you on blur. So I just kind of stick to playing either cheap secondary or just arbitraging whitelist opportunities and building your way up, and maybe conviction play here or there.
I see. Yeah, thanks a lot for reviewing. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
anytime.
quite small wallet, but yeah.
But hey, I mean, sometimes you just need that direction to get the ball rolling, right? I think you're doing pretty fine already, considering you got 2 keys. But yeah. I think again, it's easy to get bogged down and be like, maybe I shouldn't have minted another one, but you could always just sell it, right, and move on to the next thing, and you recover that liquidity and chalk it up to a learning experience.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, I appreciate a lot.
Yeah, anytime. Not sure if you want me to send this to you, since I think it's pretty clear what you
No,
need.
it's quite clear. I mean,
Yeah.
I just wanted to know more or less the mentality, because sometimes I mint something, I get profit, and then I'm like running for second market, like because I won most of my liquidity on second market, right? So I think I'm gonna hit all the time.
Yeah, I mean, again, when you're working with lower liquidity, you just kind of want to recover your initial back as fast as possible and arbitrage these opportunities. Like if you see like a 0.2 profit on a whitelist you minted, that's already, looking at your current liquid, that's 33% of your liquid, right? So why would you speculate on it unless you got a really good feeling about it? And even then, sometimes the best projects can be rugs, right? So you're opening yourself up to a lot of risk there by letting things run. And it's something that we always say. It's like, as long as you remain in the game, right, that's winning in itself, right? If you're breaking even or even slightly losing, you're winning in the long run. So the point of the game, first of all, is just to stay alive, and then after that, it's to increase your bankroll. So I think you're doing a great job of that, and just recover that liquidity where you can, and continue on doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate a lot.
Anytime. Any questions? All right, sounds good. All right, Boop, I guess want to open up to everyone else in case they had questions or want to point out some things that they either agreed with, disagreed with, or just general commentary.
Yeah, great stuff, JJ. Thank you. Yeah, we can open it up here. I will say, one point of emphasis I think we like to put on, especially for a lot of the new people, or even with smaller portfolios, is always make sure you're staying within your means, in your portfolio. Has different risk tolerances, but a lot of this took a lot of time to build up bankrolls and be able to ape into to projects, like some of us do. but make sure you're staying within your own personal risk tolerance and within your means and within your own bankroll. Not trying to compare yourself to what everyone else is doing. I think that's a good first step to kind of lean on, and the wins will come along the way. Just keep backing the small wins, and you'll get to a point where you feel more comfortable, minting in volume and stuff like that.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks, Boop. And got a question from EQ Poppy, which is kind of related. Could you go over what having a bankroll is and the importance of it? And yeah, I mean, the old adage goes, thief, sorry, comparison is the thief of joy, right? And, I used to get salty when I first started or like upset, like, why couldn't I make that play, right? But that's kind of where the eyes forward mentality developed, right? And it really doesn't do you any good to compare yourself to others and be upset if someone succeeds, because it just means that their time came around, and your time will come so long as you stay in the game, right? And so long as you maintain proper bankroll management, like your hit will come. Just law of odds, law of big numbers, right? If you mint 10,000 projects over 6 years, you're bound to hit a rare in one of those. It's bound to be a rare and a good project. So what is the bank? What is a bankroll, and what is the importance of having it? The importance of having it, I can't stress enough, is to stay in the game, right? And to stay alive and flipping, right? Bankroll is, your set amount of money that you set aside for this. And I want to extend the conversation to life roll, right? So there's the bankroll, which is what you dedicate to this, and then the life roll, which is, your entire net worth or whatever, whatever you allocate to that. And why do I want to bring that up? Because sometimes you have some really big hits, right? And sometimes you want to maximize for just to get the maximum you can get. Let's say you minted, I'm just going to throw an example, like a super rare Azuki, right? And you got a 40 ETH offer, but you're like, I could do better. Maybe I can get 100, 200 ETH out of it. But let's say, your life roll is only like, a few $1,000s. Like, man, what are you doing speculating on that? That could literally change your life right there, right? And so you should definitely take both into account, right? Because sometimes there's these life-changing mints or these life-changing opportunities here, and just having that peace of mind from settling your life roll will help you in the long run and help you make better decisions. Because as suddenly, like when you have enough in your bank that you're not worried about paying your rent next month, then you can be like, oh, maybe I'll let this one play out, or maybe 0.1 loss isn't too much, or 1 ETH loss, right? And so the importance again of having the bankroll is to keep within your means, as Poop eloquently put it, right? If you have like a 2 ETH bankroll, you want to kind of tailor your plays to either small chunks of it, and you want to take into account your life roll too. Like Prince Zoho was a good example of that, right? Like he has pretty stable Web 2 position, and he can keep adding 1 ETH a month, so he could take risks with his entire bankroll because he could just replenish it, right? If he really believes in a play and it's like 100% of his bankroll, he's not going to be ruined if that play doesn't work out, because he can just keep adding to it. All right, so it's really important to keep into account all the time. You see some of the people in here making 100 NFT sweeps, and it's like 10 ETH, right? They all started somewhere as well, right? And they played within their means, within their bankroll, and eventually, with time, if you are lucky and are able to stay in the game, you should get to that point. And I think that again, law of big numbers. The longer you can stay in, you're bound to get lucky one of those times. Sorry, I was kind of preachy there, but that's.
That was great. That was great, JJ. Just to piggyback off that as well, like I know we say it a lot. I'm sure a lot of the OGs here in this office hours probably heard us talk about this, millions of times over the past year and a half, 2 years or so. But stack the small W's. Don't feel like every project is going to be the one, right? And that goes back to staying within your means, right? Kind of like what JJ was just touching on. Take those 0.1s, those 0.2s, and don't think about, if it goes on to run up to 0.7, 1 ETH or whatever, and you miss the top or whatever, try to prepare and frame your mind to just accept the small W's as they come. And that will really help accelerate your bankroll throughout the course of time. Because like JJ said, the point of this is to make sure you are staying in the game for as long as possible. Make sure you try and give yourself the opportunity to hit big when your time does come. And stacking the small W's along the way is a big part of that.
Yeah, well said, well said. And, with the last couple minutes here, just want to add, one of the hardest things to do as a trader is to take losses, right? Cut your bags, and, maybe you bought for 0.5 and floors at 0.3, but you really don't see it going anywhere. A lot of times instinct is like just to ride it out. But one of the best things you can do as a trader is cut those bags. I mean, if you look at some of the top traders in here, I guarantee you they're also the biggest losers. And I mean that in the sense of they've cut multiple ETH losses, right? Maybe double-digit losses in terms of ETH, right? And so recovering liquid is also a huge part of bankroll management, right? And it's tempting when you take those kind of hits, and if it's a significant amount of your bankroll, to play the same way you've always been playing. But sometimes you gotta tighten up a bit if you've taken such a big hit and play down, and that's kind of the hardest thing for people to do. But something you should just keep in mind.
Yeah.
Awesome. And sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just saying, hell yeah. Getting that off my chest.
Thank
Yeah,
you for the words of wisdom.
no problem. And like on a personal level, right? I think it's no secret in here. I am not shy to say, like, I made quite a bag last year and the year before, but I lost a big chunk of it last year when ETH kind of crashed. And I sold the bottom, right? I lost most of it, but like I'm still alive, right? I'm still in the game, still flipping, still have a good bankroll to work with compared to what I started with. So, and my life role has changed dramatically as well, right? I used to, even though I had a good government job, I used to be paycheck to paycheck, right? And now I don't worry about that kind of thing anymore, thanks to people in here and thanks to NFT. Right? So, it's always something to keep in mind is, first take care of your life role and then manage your bankroll as well. All right, if nothing else, looking forward to the next one. Feel free to ping Poop or me or any of the mods here if you want to sign up for a session down the line. It's kind of nerve-wracking to have your wallet exposed, but you do get the best advice from some of the people in here when they start chiming in on their thoughts on how they would be playing it as well. With his wisdom in the crowd here. All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you, JJ. Great stuff, man. Thanks everyone for coming up.
Thank you.
Down on VC1.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.